Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The government has kicked off the 2-month public consultation for the city's first 5-year plan. Among the highlights are the accelerated development of the northern metropolis and improvement of public livelihood.
I'm leading the government to draft the first Hong Kong's 5-year plan, which is closely related to UME.
Chief Executive John Lee has filmed this promotional video for the city's first 5-year plan.
I welcome your views. Let's shape the blueprint for the next 5 years together.
The blue-covered consultation document for the 5-year blueprint comes in 6 parts with around 30 pages in total. The first chapter focuses on accelerating the development of the northern metropolis, where a new IT hub and the university town will be built near Shenzhen just across the border. The second chapter on the economy, finance, and trade. The chapter on people's livelihood and social development encompass education, healthcare, housing, social welfare, labor and elderly care, while ensuring fiscal prudence and sustainability. The remaining parts focus on integrated development of culture, sports and tourism, green living, IT and industry, as well as the development of regional cooperation. Meeting the press, Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Janice Tse says the blueprint will echo with and serve the National Development Plan while upholding the city's free market economy.
Through this, we will better align ourselves with and serve national development, as well as seize the new opportunities. The Hong Kong 5-year plan is strategic, forward-looking, and operable. First 5-year plan matters a lot to everyone in Hong Kong. We look forward to ideas from all walks of life to build consensus on Hong Kong's vision for the future.
The consultation will last 2 months. Residents can submit opinions about the plan via a website, email, or letters. Officials aim to announce a finalized plan in the 3rd quarter. When asked if the blueprint will overlap with the annual policy address and budget, authorities say the 5-year plan serves as a top strategic level framework, so the policy address and budget will help advance the key development priorities and vision set out under the 5-year plan. While the government says there won't be too many KPIs for Hong Kong's 5-year plan, at least for now, Lau Siu Kai, a national think tank consultant, says more concrete project objectives can be in place, such as changes in the city's industrial composition and GDP per capita over the long term.
We need, in the future, some concrete items, some concrete projects, and maybe some concrete results, some concrete actions to materialize the policy direction as speculated in the policy consultation document.
The consultation document for Hong Kong's 5-year plan is also available on the government's dedicated website, with hard copies distributed at designated locations. The government will hold activities to tap views from residents, politicians, and industries. Director of the Hong Kong Macau Affairs Office, Xia Baolong, will embark on a 2-day visit to Hong Kong tomorrow. He's expected to tap views on how Hong Kong will align itself with the National 15th 5-year plan and the development of the northern metropolis. Director of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, Xia Baolong, has visited Hong Kong every year over the past 3 years and took a trip to the SAR twice last year. In February, Xia visited the Lok Ma Chau Loop area and Qianhai, during which he met with several Hong Kong bureau chiefs and principal officials. In June, his 5-day trip included attending the forum marking the 5th anniversary of the implementation of the national security law. He also met with political figures and university representatives. After this year's 2 sessions, Xia discussed the alignment of Hong Kong and Macau with the National 15th 5-year plan. He undertook inspection in several Greater Bay Area cities, including the Guangdong-Macau Deep Cooperation Zone in Chongqing and Zhuhai earlier this month. This time, Xia Baolong's visit to Hong Kong is poised to focus on the development of the northern metropolis. It is understood that he will visit the Northern Mega Project on the first day of his trip here. The SAR government has just begun public consultations on the 5-year plan, which are expected to fall within the scope of Xia Baolong's inspection. Chief Executive John Lee expresses gratitude to Xia for his continued support for Hong Kong. While the U.S.-Iran agreement to end the war and open the Strait of Hormuz is offering relief to the global economy, Tensions remain high in the Middle East, with the Israeli military striking Beirut's suburbs in the lead-up to the U.S.-Iran deal. Global leaders meanwhile welcomed the agreement, with European countries asking for the unconditional and unrestricted freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. Gloria Feng has the story.
Tensions remain high at the Israeli-Lebanese border as Iran and the U.S. move towards a deal to end the Iran war. Tehran, which is Hezbollah's main backer, insists any U.S.-Iran ceasefire deal must also include an end to Israeli strikes in Lebanon. But the fighting continues. The Israeli military says it launched strikes on Beirut, targeting Hezbollah infrastructure on the eve of the U.S.-Iran deal. The office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announces the strikes were in response to Hezbollah attacks in northern Israel. Israel continues to occupy large swaths of southern Lebanon while battling Hezbollah fighters, causing civilian casualties and damages to infrastructure. Meanwhile, the long-awaited peace deal receives positive responses from global leaders. China's spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Lin Jian, commends efforts from all parties as well as Pakistani mediators and says China is ready to take an active role in the efforts to restore peace in the Middle East.
We hope the document will be signed as planned, and all relevant parties will stay committed to peaceful solutions and resolve issues through dialogue and negotiation. China stands ready to join the international community in playing an active role in restoring peace and tranquility to the Middle East and Gulf region at an early date.
The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says in a post on social media he warmly congratulates the US and Iran for having reached a peace deal that provides for an immediate and permanent ceasefire, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, as well as a framework for future negotiations. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas calls the deal a first step towards sustained peace in the region.
Of course, there's the deal that has been announced now by US and Iran that is much welcomed by everybody. It is the first phase to open the Strait of Hormuz and then move on to the negotiations on the critical topics like the nuclear issue, but also other critical issues that are important for the stability and peace in the region.
In a joint statement, Britain, France, Germany, and Italy say Iran must never acquire a nuclear weapon and that they're prepared to lift relevant sanctions in response to clear, verifiable steps by Iran on its nuclear program. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Minoru Kihara echoes similar sentiments and hopes the memorandum will be properly implemented, while urging Iran to ensure the safe navigation of the Strait of Hormuz for vessels of all countries. In California, these protesters who are skeptics of the agreement are voicing concerns over the legitimacy of the deal. This protester says she's not happy to sign any deal with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps.
This is not a government of people of Iran because there is no free election inside of Iran. The people of inside of Iran, they not believe this is their regime. And Trump promised us to help people of Iran who died on the street. And I'm not seeing with this contract, he keep his promise to people of my country.
Gloria Feng, TVB News.
World leaders began gathering in a French spa town Monday for a summit of the Group of Seven Nations with a new impetus following U.S. President Donald Trump's announcement of an agreement that he says will bring an end to the Middle East war. Protests have erupted in France and neighboring Switzerland ahead of the summit. Danny Rao tells us more.
US President Donald Trump arrives in Evian-les-Bains for talks with G7 leaders, including some who have been sharply critical of his managing of the roughly 15-week Iran conflict. Trump has had sharp disagreement with host French President Emmanuel Macron, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni over failing to consult them before the decision to go to war. In addition to Iran, the other leading issue will be the Ukraine war that's largely slipped down the White House's list of top priorities. Oxfam activists staged a protest in Publier, France, featuring people dressed as leaders ahead of the opening of the G7 summit. The demonstration portrays G7 leaders standing around an overflowing rubbish bin filled with giant discarded folders, labelled gender inequalities, climate and tax the rich, denouncing the omission of those issues from the agenda of the summit starting on Monday. The organization's executive director for France, Cécile Duflot, says the protest aimed to show that a G7 meeting is taking place, while at US President Donald Trump's request, issues that are absolutely crucial are being left off the agenda: human rights, gender equality, and of course climate. She also criticizes the gap between military spending and humanitarian aid among G7 countries. Protesters in Geneva clashed with police, set a car on fire and smashed the windows of a bank to show their discontent with the G7 group of rich countries ahead of the summit in nearby France. Environmentalists and feminists joined foes of imperialism, defenders of independent media, supporters of Palestinian rights and others in a lakeside park in Geneva for a march across the Swiss city. Police used tear gas in response to projectiles being thrown at them by demonstrators and at firefighters attending the scene of a burning car just minutes away from the march route as riot police cordoned off a secure zone for them to work. A spokesperson for the Geneva police says an estimated 7,000 people were taking part in the march. Darrell, TV News.
Switzerland rejected a proposal to cap its population at 10 million on Sunday. A preliminary tally of the referendum showed almost 55% of Swiss voters came out against the proposal. Analysts say voters prioritized economic stability and ties with the European Union over worries about immigration. The vote had put businesses on edge due to concerns it could end the free movement of labor between Switzerland and the EU. The Swiss government had urged voters to reject the cap, which was championed by the right-wing Swiss People's Party. Welcome back. The United Kingdom is set to ban social media sites for under 16s and impose restrictions on gaming and live streaming platforms. Prime Minister Keir Starmer is pushing for one of the most far-reaching online restrictions to date. It is clear to me a full ban is the right choice, says Starmer, as well as a ban on sites such as TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. Starmer is taking action against gaming and live streaming services, which now allow children to talk to strangers. But in Australia, young people say a ban put in place last year is not working. They say social media companies should be doing more to stop children accessing harmful content. In the U.S. state of Missouri, a skydiving plane carrying a pilot and 11 passengers plunges into a field and catches fire near the Butler Memorial Airport, south of Kansas City. All 12 people on board have been killed.
Today at 11:30 this morning, we had a plane crash on the property of the airport. We are treating that as a mass casualty. This is not a commercial airliner that has crashed. We're still trying to identify family and make notifications, and so we're going to be respectful of that. There were witnesses that were family members, yes.
Emergency vehicles are lining up around the heap of blue and silver mangled metal in a grassy area, with plumes of smoke rising from the debris. The single-engine turboprop airplane is identified as a Pacific Aerospace 750XL. The amber rainstorm warning signal and thunderstorm warning are now in force, with heavy thunderstorms affecting areas throughout the Pearl River Delta region. The observatory expects weather conditions will remain unstable in the next 2 to 3 days. Timothy Lee has more.
Heavy rainfall and thunderstorms continue to batter Hong Kong and the rest of the Guangdong coastline amid an active southwest monsoon and a trough of low pressure. The observatory issued the amber rainstorm warning signal at 11:10 a.m., with the city having experienced continuous showers throughout the afternoon. Kowloon was among the most affected regions, as strong gusts made it challenging for residents to use their umbrellas. The storm began overnight, and the early amber rainstorm warning signal was only dropped this morning. This as the rain ban affecting the region encompasses areas such as the outlying islands, Tai Po, as well as the eastern and southern districts. Over the past week, the rainstorm warning signal was issued on 3 days, with the highest level black signal having been issued on Tuesday night. Some meteorologists indicate a rainfall level remains normal this year, with weather authorities noting that they will issue rainstorm warning signals in accordance with relevant data. Lo Wing-mo, the spokesperson for the Hong Kong Meteorological Society, says June is traditionally the month recording the heaviest rainfall in a year. He stresses the frequency of rainstorm warning signals during this period should be considered the norm. Meanwhile, the observatory forecasted the heavy rain will persist until at least Thursday, with weather conditions expected to improve between Friday and the start of next week. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Hong Kong is set to hold its first Northern Metropolis Marathon later this year. Kelly Law reports.
To mark the 100th anniversary of the Hyung Ee Kuk, the organization is hosting the Northern Metropolis Marathon. Runners can enjoy the passionate cheers from residents along the road and take part in the post-race carnival near the finish line. Veteran runner Wong Chun-man said at the toughest moments, having people cheering for you can make your positive energy rise. This event consists of the full marathon, half marathon, 10 kilometers and 1.5 kilometers races. The full marathon will start at the Hyung Ee Kuk building at Sha Tin, passing through the Fan Ling bypass, which opened for the marathon for the first time, and finish at the North District Sports Ground in Shen Shui. Along the way, runners will pass several new territories landmarks and enjoy the scenery of the Northern District. Chairman of Hyung Ee Kuk said the marathon can allow people across Hong Kong to witness the development of Northern District by themselves. The organizer hopes to promote healthy living and community sports. The marathon aims to bring residents and runners together to build closer community ties. Kelly Law, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.